All right. It appears I am live. Yeah. Happy Tuesday. Yesterday, I don't know, just kind of a post-con malaise, I suppose. You know, as usual, I always feel like I mean to stream, and then sometimes I am sleepy. And I kept pushing it. Dropped a cord. I kept pushing it off until later and later, and then finally just got to be, I don't think I'm going to make it. I should probably get better. I used to be really good about informing, though maybe it was too much. Like, hey, I'm streaming. No, I'm not streaming. Probably need to get back on that. It's a good organizational thing. Yeah, but I'm not. Or but I I will try to be better at that. But I didn't. If you could see here, we're back on Ouija, looking at. I removed that one diagram, and I added this in because I'm in Studio B. I'm leaving today, going back to Brooklyn tonight. I drove, Sunday afternoon, drove from basically Philly up here, which adds, I think I mentioned on the stream, maybe it's depending on traffic. It wasn't really much further than going from home just because of having to leave New York City, which always just adds a bunch of time, which I find highly annoying, which I think I also mentioned on that stream, that being in Brooklyn and having to travel from Brooklyn kind of through across the city, you basically have to touch two out of the other four boroughs at least, and neither one's particularly good. If I go through Manhattan, sometimes that can be okay, but sometimes that can be dicey, and it's adding a little bit of distance to try to get some better time, because the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, the BQE, is an awful road that is always seems to be clogged with traffic. Doesn't seem to matter what time of day or night you're on it. It's just you can flip a coin or pray to some runes or something. It doesn't matter. It's going to be clogged up. And the FDR, I think it tends to be a little bit better, but you have to kind of swing out of your way. You still have to go through the Bronx a bit, and even if I go through Brooklyn into Queens, still have to go to the Bronx. The only one that I definitely won't have to hit is Staten Island, because it's going the other direction. But you basically I pretty much have to go, not including Staten Island, but all the way through the city, and that can add a bunch of time. And it had looked at, when I looked at the mapping, that, well, being in New Jersey, even though I'm an hour further away, well, that hour is not super trafficy, and I could probably, instead of maybe averaging, I don't even know if it really, well, I guess that's the thing, is right. It's further away in distance, but you can average much better in time. The turnpike can be dicey as well, Jersey Turnpike, but at least it's fast. A lot of it is, and they have this dynamic, they set their speed limits dynamically. So you'll see these overhead kind of road signs that'll have this digital speed limit on there. I don't even know how much they pay attention to it. People pay attention to it. I'm not sure how much anybody really pays attention to it. From the way folks are driving, it didn't seem like it, because it will be 65, then 55, then sometimes a couple places 45. But I couldn't, when you're actually watching people or paying attention, because I know what I'm driving at, and I'm looking at people around me. Nobody seemed to be, when it would go down to 55, 45. On the way there, I think on Saturday, I was slowing down, because I usually try to go only about I generally like to stay less than 10 miles above the speed limit, just for ticketing purposes. I think that I feel like, it's not that this is a secret thing or an unknown thing, but I always think of that. If you're going less than double digits over the speed limit, they're going to tend to leave you alone. They might leave you alone going way over it, but if I stay around 9 miles an hour on average, that way, if I'm going down a hill, maybe I creep up into 10, but mostly I'm 9 miles over the speed limit, miles per hour over the speed limit, then tend to be okay. And at first, I would slow down for all these different speed changes. I noticed that nobody else seemed to. So on Sunday, coming back, I tended to just sit at, assuming it was 65, and I didn't see a lot. And I certainly wasn't the fastest person. I mean, I wasn't the slowest person. I wasn't the fastest, but a lot of people were going faster, or at least as fast as I am. And all of us, it seemed like we're going well over the 55. So I wondered, And they had some areas that it was like the road work, but no one's actually working on the road because it's Sunday. Some things like, but I think, short story made very long. I think that the idea when we looked at it traffic wise was that, well, I'm further away in distance, but I'll be able to cruise up, going that sort of maybe around 65 miles per hour, as opposed to, okay, well, I'm in New York City. If I started in Brooklyn, I've got about this much head start in distance, but I'm going to be averaging, 15 miles an hour for a good bit to get out of town, whereas I'll be able to hit the freeway and just go, even though I would be further west. So I definitely would have to cut east at some point, which I think right around Newburgh, New York, Highland is where I end up cutting over and crossing the Hudson and getting back on the east side of the Hudson, which is where I needed to be. But for some reason, it just took, I don't know if it's just, you're streaming and whatever, it seemed to take a lot. I think it took a lot out of me. I don't feel like this was a con where I was super busy. I mean, I rolled up on Saturday, I played in a game, hung out for a bit and left. Was home because I had to be before 4 o'clock. Granted, I left at 7, but that's not a big deal. And then on Sunday, I didn't leave the house until 12. And then I streamed for a couple hours. I hung out for a little bit more, and then I left. And but then I had this, now it was probably and I did stop to eat on the way. So it ended up being, probably a 4-hour altogether commute. But that just, by the end of it, last night and then not last night, I guess I should say, Sunday night into yesterday, I just was kind of beat. I did manage to do a little bit of yard work, which I'm terrible at, but I need to do, so I did. And not as much as I wanted to, but more, I guess, than I thought I was going to be able to rouse myself to doing. So that was kind of good. I just doing a whole lot of cutting. There are these plants. I forget. I don't know the names of them offhand. I forget. Is it fuchsia? I don't know. But I marvel at the industriousness of nature and what they do. But they are so aggravating to me because they just grow and they're really clever and they'll just wherever they need to get to get to the sun and to the light. Right? Why is my thing blanking out? I'm looking at the. Okay, I guess it's yep, something reset. Go back. Well, come in. Okay. All right, I think we're back. It's going to zoom in too much, and I'm trying around with this gimbal mic again, or the gimbal mic with the gimbal video for this again. So it seems like it's really good and clever, but it also sometimes I guess it can lose the thread a little bit. Lose what I'm trying to do. AI outsmarting itself. In any event, so hey Ryan, yep, I'm ready to get gloomy. So these, I don't know if it's fuchsia, whatever it is, they just, they'll grow up, they'll grow out, and they'll just keep going, and then so you get these. It's been overgrown for so long, and I've been spending the last couple of years trying to get it back. They just they reach out, and then they'll grow all these funky branches to just get it, but and so they're really grabbing all the sun, but they're climbing over each other, and they just choke everything else out. And underneath it is just dead because nothing, there's just no air. I mean, there's no air. There's no light, and so they're just continually marching, just and underneath it, it's just this horrible thing. So I've done work over the last few years just cutting them, pretty relentlessly cutting them back, and then they're brilliant. I've cut them down. I haven't dug them all out. I think I'm gonna have to do that probably soon. Is really just spend, I don't know how long it's gonna take me and the effort involved to kind of just dig out the roots, because you'll see these stumps with all these things where I've cut them down, and sure enough, some new ones coming on up, and now because it's kind of clear, they're pretty much coming straight up as opposed to this. There's really aggravating. And but I did do some work on that yesterday. The thing that also keeps slowing down is they keep saying it's going to rain, and then it's not raining. So I keep thinking, it's going to rain, so I'll wait. It's going to rain, so I'll wait. And it's like, well, it's not raining. And then yesterday it was like 4 p.m. and I was didn't feel like doing anything, but it's not like, oh, it's going to rain at 5. And right now it's like 69 degrees and sunny. Today it's 44 degrees and the feel like is 22 degrees. So it's freezing because we're having these weird, the weather's been all over the place. But yesterday I was like, shoot, I better get out there and do something. Knotweed. Brian Smith fighting knotweed fighter. I'm not familiar with knotweed. It doesn't sound great. But man, those, I think it's fuchsia, but I could be wrong. It could be something else. Just I look, nature is just amazing for what it can do, and then you have to respect it anyway. But then when you see just how it's able to, they just keep coming and just keep relentless. And I'm not even trying to make I just want to get it down to kind of a base where I can at least try to get, because I'm a big believer in the like local vegetation, getting the stuff that's what do they call it? There's a name for it, like the local native vegetation. And a lot of this stuff is not native. And even if I don't know about the fuchsia itself, the fuchsia might be native, but I don't care. It's just they're too aggressive. They just kill too much stuff. They just take over too much. I just want some stuff that I can have that's native, that have some variety in there. And I really, really do want to kind of mostly leave it alone. You just can't leave that stuff alone because it just takes over and just chokes out everything else. So I got to get rid of it. All right. Enough gardening talk. I got other fish to fry here. So we did the monument. Now it's been a couple of days, a week or so. I don't remember. So that's 5.4. So we're here on the map. 5.5 is that forge. The Gloomwater is over here. So we got 5.3, which is something. Don't know yet. Question mark. And then we've also got 3.3 down the line, which I guess I will just add in there now. Because why not? 3.3. So we got these in here. Okay. So what? So my actual sheet of paper is not here because it's at Studio A and I'm not there. So I don't have my notes. So this one, we got, it's love, death, and is that fear? It's neutral. It's natural. And it's okay. I'm not worried about its magnitude right now. Love, death, fear, natural. So we've got kind of a death thing going here. Got that forge over there. Death is still part of this. I wonder if it's a burial ground. Now, I know you could look at a burial ground and say, that's man-made. And it is. But you can think maybe what I'm going for here is that if you think about, well, why bury them here, right? Why is this burial ground where it is? And maybe the concept here is that there's a natural effect that the ground is kind of, that's just sort of what, you think about, maybe this is somewhere animals would come to die. And then people got a hold of it, or people realized this and realized there was maybe something about it. Obviously, we're looking at this, because remember, part of this whole thing of the Gloomwater was trying to look at this, I guess, holistically, is that the word? And just see, well, how do these things relate together? So this is really the source of everything. And then these are also, well, how do these relate maybe to there? You could think about, well, these might relate here also. And maybe this is something here too, where if we're looking at some kind of ritual space, you have this, and then that's connected here, that maybe there, okay, they would do some kind of ritual at the monument, and then they would bury people here. Maybe it's very simple. So it's not something with lots of big barrows, but it's kind of that the culture was sort of unmarked. You just return them to the earth. And then maybe there's something like after a certain time, if you're buried here, your spirit might, like this, there's some connection to what's buried here. And well, I don't know. Because then because I want there to be kind of a whole stream of people coming, or spirits. So maybe it doesn't make sense only here, but anyway, maybe there's something. So I like the idea that this has been sort of a natural burial ground. Maybe, in fact, oh, you know what? Hold on a minute. Let's, yeah, let's. Maybe it's a tar pit. And maybe people were ritually submerged in the tar pit. That was. Yeah, these. Brian says, am I getting it that the idea is that you get buried and then your soul kind of walks the river into the afterlife? Yeah, that's kind of the idea, at least for this area. But I'm thinking spirits from, maybe it's spirits from more over will do that. But yeah, this is kind of, it's not, somebody, I forget who it was, mentioned kind of the river Styx. And I was definitely conscious of that. But I didn't want it to be like the river Styx. This is the river Styx. But I like the idea that maybe you have water is one of those, obviously has a very mythic quality to it, and there's all kinds of mythology around water. But the idea that this maybe connects to some kind of, if there was some kind of Styx or ocean or something of underworld kind of dealio, maybe the underworld is surrounded by a water or something. This kind of connects together. So it is an entrance as opposed to the entrance. Brian says it brings to mind one of the scenes in the Metal Gear Solid games. I played some of the Metal Gear Solid games, but I don't remember that though. I think I will definitely Metal Gear Solid I played, and then I only really played demos of the ones. Maybe I played some Metal Gear Solid 2. I don't remember, but I definitely didn't play when they really evolved into those kind of almost open world sort of sandboxy things. I was interested in them, but never really got around to playing them. So I don't really know. I don't know anything about the fiction. I also know it got very, very, weird. Okay, so these natural tar pits. Yeah, there's something that I think that there's some sort of allure. I don't know. Attract dying creatures. When folk, I don't have yet who the people are. Settled to because I know I have a settlement that's, well, it's pretty much south. We don't know anything about these, but say just to this, I guess I'll say John to the south. South. They began to incorporate. Yep, I think it's incorporate, right? Yep. Gave it to me, and then, yeah, I got it. It's incorporate pits into their ritual, their burial rites. Brian says you trudge upstream, and every character you've killed goes walking past you in the other way. Oh, that's cool. This is in the Metal Gear Solid. That's pretty slick. There's also that. I don't know if it's. It could. I don't know if it's Sun Tzu, Confucius, somebody else, but I think they said, didn't it? Like if you sit enough, if you wait long enough by the river, you'll see the bodies of your foes float by you. I think there's a saying, something like that, which it kind of reminds me of. The natural tar pits attract dying creatures. When folks settled to the south, they began to incorporate the pits into their burial rites. And I think in terms of a gaming thing, it would be cool to say that on some kind of X and 6 chance that there are some animal or animals coming to the pits to basically just give themselves over to the pits. I'll probably have to come up with a better name than just tar pits. I'm sure there's something. Yeah, what does Wikipedia say? Tar pits, sometimes referred to as asphalt pits, are large asphalt deposits. They form in the presence of petroleum, which is created when decayed. Okay. That's fine. I wonder if there's other names for it. Carpinteria, Benegati, Pitch Lake. Ooh, bitumen. Wow, it's huge. The lake has a maximum depth of 250 feet and an area of 100 acres, making it the largest deposit of solid bitumen on Earth. The lake is cold and dense near the shores and has a top layer that can be walked on. Underneath the skin, the asphalt is continuously churning. The lake gets gradually softer and hotter near the center where the bitumen begins to bubble. The gas being released in the middle of the lake is largely methane and ample amount of carbon dioxide. I like this. I don't know if I'm going to call it Pitch Lake, and I'm going to copy this because I don't. I'm going to edit it, but I like. Whoops. I like it. Pitch Lake. I'll come up with another word, but I like that. Okay. A social media influencer must be on their way to take a selfie there as we speak. There are probably some that are permanently parked on that lake. There must be something interesting. I want to say there's got to be, there's maybe something danger. It'd be interesting to do. Like, I'm just putting this in parens, like fish for something valuable, but might provoke an undead. I don't know if this would work. It's a fun idea that you could literally try to hook something out and bring it. But I wouldn't want it to be something that you could game because, you're a party of 5. And so you just hook something. And if it's not what you want or it's undead, but maybe the surface might break, something like that. I'm not sure. Could be an interesting. I'm just turning it to pitch. The bubble. And release toxic gas. All right. Oh, Brian, it wouldn't even be a fish. It would be something. Because remember, the idea here is all kinds of animals and creatures come to die and then drop it in the lake. So it's not even that you could get an undead fish. It's you could get an undead who knows what. People, any kind of monster. I mean, you could literally roll and see, like, what kind of monster am I getting? But I just wouldn't want to turn it into something too gamey. Like, I guess what I'm saying is I'd want there to be, though, one, there's a couple of things. You'd have to go to where the crust is breaking down so you can get your hook. Right, you'd have to go kind of towards the center. Or you'd have to do something, like, you couldn't go on the shore. Like, you have to go kind of towards the middle because that's where things go. And then you'd have to nothing, because at the shore, right where the shore is, it's just too shallow. There's nothing there. It's just this pitch. And then you'd have to obviously be out there. What I would want is that it's something that could have a cool reward. And again, remember we were talking about, again, I keep saying, when we were talking about, well, what kind of quest would you have to do maybe to get some effect? This could be part of the quest. Is you gotta go by yourself with this special kind of fishing setup, and you have to go grab something, and maybe there's even an element where you have to kind of make a wish for something, or not a wish, but you have to put an intention out there. You can't just like blindly go fishing. You have to kind of maybe put an intention for something, and then like maybe maybe you pull up a dead person, which might be okay, but maybe you pull up a dead owlbear, maybe you pull up a dead undead dragon or something. You could literally, it could be kind of anything that could be down there. Right. Brian Smith says, just like ice fishing, find the right spot where it's not too thin, punch a hole, throw in a hook, then oops, undead T-Rex. Right. I just wouldn't want it to be too gamey, because like I said, with five people, I wouldn't want it to be like, oh, let's just keep fishing until we get some magic item. So I think the idea might be part of a ritual quest. Maybe that makes sense, because if it's part of a quest, then we can say, okay, you got to do it by yourself. Can't have you can't game it up by having, oh, we're gonna have all these people and they're gonna tie ropes to me and they're gonna be waiting around with spears to quickly just kill anything that comes up. Like, no, you're gonna have to go out there by yourself, and you're gonna have to do it, and you're gonna have to take the risk and whatnot. So we'll have to see. So I think that, but that's pretty. It's pretty funny, because the idea of these sites are supposed to be kind of like where you could have your dungeons, but I'm totally fine with them not being dungeony. We got room for dungeons if we want. I mean, we do have one that's dungeony, which is the Forge. Is definitely a spot where it'd be kind of like a dungeon. It's going to have some cave and some containing bits, and maybe there's a sort of temple thing down there. The Gloomwater is a natural thing. This is a natural, or that's not a natural thing, but it's not a dungeon either, though we could put a kind of temple complex there if we wanted to. And then the Pitch Lake is natural. Brian says, if it's dangerous enough, I don't think you'd have to worry about people just sitting there rolling on the table all session. I mean, I probably would want to dissuade them from that anyway. But, I'm always want to think about, I always like the kind of risk reward stuff. And apologies, I have a washing machine going on behind me. So if you're hearing there's a thrum underneath my voice, that's what's happening. I just want it to be a good amount of risk, potentially a reward. I think I'm really like the idea that's part of this ritual quest that you can do, where you can go through and have to do something. Maybe you have to get something out of the lake again. You have to put in an intention for something, and then you fish it out of the lake. You maybe have to fight something, or even not fight. It doesn't have to necessarily have to fight. I would think it would be open-ended, maybe even just escape or something else, to then go continuing on to the next part. So I'm cool with that. But I'll have to figure out the particulars later. Right now we're kind of still in the broad brush phase, where I'm just trying to flesh out a bit of, I have this really broad brush, just kind of inspirational stuff here. Now we've got the sort of outline, and then we can come back and fiddle with some of the details if we want to, All right, so that was, whoops, I had the wrong number here. So this is actually 5-3. Pitch Lake. And then this is 3-3. And what do we get from 3-3? It's resources, mysticism, grief, chaos, also neutral. This actually one is strong. I might switch out this one, because I want the Gloomwater to really be strong, I think. So I'm going to probably, I don't think 4-4 is not, it's less. So I'm probably will flip those magnitudes to make the Gloomwater the strongest thing. Let's see, I was drinking Mandarin Orange Seltzer, but I think I'm all done. For the working man. There's an oddity here. Maybe I should do something with this. I don't know why this happens. I can't explain it. Maybe someone can explain it to me. This house where I sit right now apparently is some kind of breeding ground for ladybugs. Because in this time of year, it's like they spawn out of the house. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know where they come from, but like somewhere in the on this, I'm on the bottom of the ground floor, not right around me, so you don't see ladybugs around here, but in the kitchen, which is kind of on this level, but just in another spot, they just seem to, they literally seem to just emerge, and suddenly there are ladybugs. And I'm constantly, I know they're good luck, so I try not to really kill them, and I'm constantly shooing them outside, and then it just stops. But then the next year they're back again. I don't know how this happens. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they get in the house. I mean, getting in the house is not difficult, but why they come here? Because it's happened enough times in a row where the first time I was thinking, oh, okay, ladybugs. That's kind of interesting. I don't know what this means, but hey, good luck. But um, if they have little M's on their faces, they aren't actually ladybugs. What would the M's signify, Dave? I'm 99.99% sure they're ladybugs, but would those be man bugs if they have little M's? Mr. Bugs, gentleman bugs? It's just weird that they show up, and I should probably have something somewhere. I should just put something, not to say ladybugs, make it more, you know, fantastical. Or if they are ladybugs, there's something interesting about them. But I can't figure out what they come from, where they're doing, why here. I don't know. I don't know if there's because the thing is this house is old. It's like Swiss cheese, especially for an insect. I don't even know how I could, this place is not exactly sealed up. And I wonder if in the walls or somewhere, between the ceiling, because I think they seem to come down from the ceiling out of, I don't even know what, but that maybe there's a nest up there, in between the boards. And this is just their period where they do their thing and pop out. I don't know. And then they just go the way that of least resistance. I don't know, but it is a funky phenomenon. Okay. 3.3, we've got resources, mysticism, grief, chaos. So this is the last part here, which I thought it might be good if there was a natural archway here, and that this archway formed kind of the terminal point. So if we imagine, if we're looking here, what we're looking at right on the large river, we're looking at this area. This is our area right here. So if this is kind of the terminal points, this is where it starts on this side. I was thinking this is kind of the end point. So I was thinking that you have a natural arch that comes across, which is a nice little way for people to get across. It's sort of a natural archway. And that the river's normal from here on out. From here down, normal, abnormal. It's kind of special from here. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to do that. That was my thought process. Oh, if they are M's, they're called Asian ladybugs. I see. Well, I haven't looked closely enough, but they don't look like M's. They look like dots. So I think I'm pretty safe. To help with aphids. I see. Well, they're Asian ladybugs are still ladybugs. They're just from another culture. But I think these are actual ladybug classics. But I'll keep an eye out. Better move out just to be safe. Yeah. So a natural arch of rock passes over the gorge. Yep. And then let's see. So I had the concept too that this area was at one point was more kind of natural, sort of a lawful, and it's been chaosified. And I was thinking that the river used to be actually. So my idea was that in olden times, in some olden time, this was actually a reservoir and didn't and didn't cut. Like there was the gorge, there was a reservoir, and then somebody broke Well, that's a good question. Who chaosed the river? We don't know. Like, there was something here and somebody broke it. And that's what caused the water to flow down. And that maybe earlier in time, there was this arch here, and it was kind of part of the ritual walkway, but now is flooded because and maybe it's one of those things you can put remnants, like you can see remnants of a path underneath here. Maybe there are some, you could even talk about there being some, talking about traces, right, and having little elements that don't necessarily, they're not on their own meaningful, but they point to something about the area. You could see things like maybe there are columns sticking out or other kinds of monument type things that are half buried in the waters because it's cut. I'm giving a walking tour of this river right now. Kind of. I mean, that's kind of the idea, right? So I think that there was a natural arch of rock over the gorge, and the sides were carved long ago. Let's see. I'm sure Gorge. Yes. The sides of the gorge at either end of the arch were carved long ago into massive fluted columns. In ancient days, a road started here and followed the gorge south to the Gloomwater. That road is now submerged. Under the flow of I don't have another name for it, so I'm just going to call it the Gloom River. So a natural arch of rock passes over the gorge. The sides of the gorge at either end of the arch were carved long ago into massive fluted columns. In ancient days, a road started here and followed the gorge south to the Gloomwater. That road is now submerged under the flow of the Gloom River. And I will rewrite that because I like to try to write this stuff. I'm not into the writing the flavor text, but I want to kind of give at least that initial paragraph to be kind of what you could. I guess what I like is that kind of format I like is if at least the first paragraph of the location is essentially more or less what the players can see. So if you want to read it to the players, you can. If you want to absorb it, and then put it out in your own language and your own voice, all the better. But that's kind of what the players see. And then if I have more information or there is more information, then I'll give that in sort of additional paragraphs where it can kind of break down. Okay, here's a little bit behind the scenes if you want it. So I will rewrite that at some point to be more about, well, here's what you kind of see, right? And I don't even really I'll probably even eliminate some of the detail I'm giving just because it's not important. Like long ago, it just matters that there's these huge columns that are worn down, which will show their age kind of thing. And then glimpses of a lot of this stuff, it's not really important. Like you can a GM can do with it what they will. It's not going to be central to what's happening, but it gives that sense of sort of age and decay and that kind of post-apocalyptic feel that so much old school kind of stuff has, where it's like, yes, there were grand things before, but they've been almost wiped out, and you're here to kind of dredge down and get what you can out of their ruins. Okay, so I'll rate that. But now I haven't figured out what the chaos thing's going on here. So I'll have to think about some kind of effect. What is the effect? I'm not sure. It could just be chaos. Because the other thing we can do is just say that, hey, chaos places that certain things are stronger. If it's chaos, if the site is chaotic, certain things are stronger. It could really even just be a modifier of like, okay, if you're chaos, then you're maybe you could be that kind of simple. Just roll with advantage. If you're chaos, right? If you're law, roll with disadvantage, and if you're neutral, don't roll anything. No difference at all. So, or it could be. I think the vibe definitely should have. Probably want to input a bit of that vibe. That it just something feels off about it, or maybe some of the columns, or maybe there's some things here that are maybe some. I'll just put some elements have been defaced. Not sure. Well, I think look at that. That's everything for this little bitty area. Well, whoop-de-doop-de-doo. I mean, not that I'm done overall. So I guess the next thing we can do is I don't have, let's see, well, I always have PDFs. I was going to say, I don't have my books with me because I'm not in Studio A, but I do have books. Because that's the nice thing of PDFs. There's always, as long as you've got some kind of cloud storage, some way of saving everything where you can get to it from multiple things, and you've got your computer, you can. I don't think that's the one. I got to figure out which folder. I need to really get my folders reorganized. They're not. Okay, I think I'm in the right one. I am. So let's do, expert set. Okay. Spells. Monsters. I just thought maybe we could do some maybe we could do some wandering creatures. I think so this would definitely be the Gorge in the Gorge itself. If you're on the what I mean by in the Gorge is you're down in here, around here. So up here, if you're up here, you're up here. This is up in this grass area. And I would say that these locations might have their own kind of wandering creatures, but special for them, or just creatures maybe, but not this one, depending on if you're in the Gorge right or out. So I'm talking about in the Gorge. Oops. So I think there'll be some kind of, whoops, maybe some kind of corrupted kind of mini elemental type. Curious Gorge, a man in yellow or a monkey. But this is a curious Gorge. It's a gloomy Gorge. So we got to do something different. Curious Gorge is not close enough to gloomy Gorge, fortunately. Okay. Let's see. I think I got to go down here. What kind of stuff do we have for, what do they give for river? I know it's going to give me a bunch of fish that I actually don't want. Well, I guess let's roll some dice. Let's see what we get. Maybe it'll give some. I mean, there's definitely going to be some kind of undead. But it'll be a ghost or something like that. I guess I'll just put a ghost. Or maybe a specter. I forget if they have different. I know specters have a stat block. I don't know in BX if ghosts do, but whatever. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Excuse me. All right, so I think I need a 12. So I think their 12s will be in play, and then I need an 8. And I've got an 8. All right. Okay. So let's roll an 8 and a 12 and see what we get. 5 and 3. So 5. Close these bookmarks. 5 is a swimmer. All right. So yeah, I mean it is a river, so I guess having some swimming is not a terrible thing. And then 3 for the swimming table is a crocodile. Well, I think yeah. We'll have to do something with, because I want, this is definitely, because it's been evilized, right? This chaosized. It should definitely have some kind of evil. I'm just going to put that there right now. I'm not sure what. Not sure. I don't know if it's a 1. Is it undead? I don't know. What to see. Let's see. 6 and 2. What's 6 is another swimmer. All right. Well, let's see what the swimmer. What do I get in the swimmer? 2. All right, I'm not doing another. I don't need 2 crocodiles. 1 crocodile's enough. I don't really want more swimmers. So can I get something else? Okay, 3. I got humanoid. Interesting. And then 12. Ooh, a troll. All right. I'm actually down with the troll. This is just pure water for the working man. Troll I can work with. We can connect that troll somewhere. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 2 more. 3. Humanoid again. And 6. I don't want lizardmen. I don't want lizardmen. What's unusual? What is in the unusual table? I think I want something. Okay, so they have Spectre. Oh, there's Spectre and Wraith. Okay. I don't know if I like. I think I might just have to pick some stuff myself. So some kind of flies. I think the robber flies, something similar to that would be good. I think that the kind of death, maybe a giant vultures. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we've got corrupted water, weird thinking, because it's a magical kind of lake and something's odd, so it's doing that. I think I can get behind that. Ghost or Spectre. We'll have to look at Spectre versus Wraith. I don't remember. Some kind of evil crocodile. A troll, I like. Maybe the troll will lair. I mean, we've got a settlement thingy. You can't really see it there up here, so maybe that could be the troll where the troll lives. And then maybe the troll only does this part of the river. Like maybe the troll lives down here and he will not go, or it will not go. It won't pass 3.3. So that might be work. And let's see. That means I can roll something else up for the other one. 3. Let's see. Only 1, 2, 2, 2, and 3, 3. All right, so what else? What's another thing? Well, I guess I'll roll and see. Or should I just roll for undead? I really want undead. I don't think I need more insects. I like the flies. There's some kind of funky fly. Water termites. What are they doing? Because I think the evil crocodile maybe could be something. It could be more than a crocodile, and I think just flies and vultures and things like that. I don't really think of there being that much to eat. So I rolled a 10. If I go to 10 on the sub table, I get a vampire. Might have to figure that out, but it's some kind of energy drainer thing is actually kind of on brand for this. Brian says, roll them in puzzle by the water termites before. Well, they have their place. I like them in a lot of areas, but I just feel like there's not really there's not a real ecosystem here for them. It's not like a swamp or a river. Like, animals aren't coming down into the Gloomwater to drink. They might be, that's the thing. It's like this is just this area, at least up until the stone arch, right? It's just not, it's too unnatural. And it's in this gorge. Things aren't really, they may fall down there, in which case they're dead, or they're flying, in which case they're flying over and getting the hell far away. There's nothing here. So that's why the crocodile, I think we could do something with. I think it could be a spirit. It could be a minor demon. It could be whatever. Like, it could be that, actually, that maybe defeating the demon or defeating the crocodile does defeating it undo or end the corruption. Like, I think that's a great idea. Like, heck, that could be a whole little adventure thing in here. But this crocodile demon there, and can you be the ones to do it? Can you be the ones to end the corruption of the Gloomwater? Yeah, dying things are, yeah. So so definitely that the vultures could be an overflow here. Right, because I was thinking about down in the gorge, but yeah, absolutely, we could have some overlap with, like, the troll might also be around here, might be doing this, which means you've got another village here that might be, or some kind of settlement that might be at odds with the troll, which makes that another interesting kind of hook potential. You've got another site here, right? So the troll might have some range of kind of this area here. I guess let me use this, right? So you might have this troll that's got kind of this range like this. And this just happens to be where it lives. Maybe you've got the vultures that are flying. I don't know, like something like that is their sort of range. Obviously, they could probably go further if you wanted to. It could, who knows? It could be all the way like that. But yeah, the bridge isn't broken. Yeah, I was gonna have so I was thinking the troll would lair kind of underneath here. So yeah, you do have the troll on the bridge, but I don't know if I want to go with the fairy tale troll under the bridge. One of it, like the Billy Goat's gruff. But yes, the bridge isn't broken. The bridge works. The flooded part is what's on the river. The idea is the river used to be a walkway that I was gonna say zoom in. So the idea was that in olden times this was a reservoir and it was enclosed. Then somebody broke the enclosure and flooded, and this became flooded. And that there used to be a road here. And it's now submerged. Then there's just a natural arch that goes over, which lets you get from here to here if you want. or back again. I mean, maybe it's funny. Maybe the troll would do that, but nobody comes across. Like, you could have a funny, if you wanted to make it kind of comical, and be like, well, this troll at one point thought that being under this bridge, that this bridge would be a great spot, but nobody actually goes that way. So, sorry, but I do like the idea of the that this archway does represent kind of a door, and so the troll is associated with this doorway in a sense. Sorry, it layers up here, but some kind of associate. I like the association because no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's not layering underneath the archway; it's layering up here. It'll be that. Okie dokie. Well, that's fun. Oh wait, did I get all my critters? Oh, the vampire, and then the vampire is some kind of probably a henchman for the Croco. Does that even make sense? What's a crocodile? What's the Latin thing for a crocodile? Crocodilian? Family Crocodilidae or Crocodilidae, or true crocodiles. So yeah, I would call it a crocodemon. And the vampire won't pass the other way, right? So the vampire won't go past 3.3 is interesting because they kind of overlap there, but the vampire won't go out of that area and the troll won't go in. And the troll might also go up on the land, but I think in terms of the gorge, and then the robber relies on, so yeah, so that's 1, 2. Oh yeah, I was going to look at Spectre versus, I want to say Wraith is nastier, but I don't remember. Let me see. I know I'm going to have to flip through both books. I want to say Spectre will be in the other book, but so Wraith, 4-star hit dice. Undead monster that drains the life force of its victims. It has no physical body and looks like a pale, man-like, almost transparent figure composed of a thick mist. Is immune to sleep, charm, and hold. A Wraith can only be hit by silver or magical weapons, but silver weapons will only do half damage. When a Wraith hits in melee, it will do normal damage and also drain 1 life energy level. See Spectre. Wraiths dwell in deserted lands or in the dwellings of creatures they have slain or frightened away. Characters slain by a Wraith will become Wraiths under the control of the one that killed them after 1 day. Ooh. Brian says, maybe its eyes. Oh, wait, hold on. First of all, sorry, I missed a message. So Brian says, could really imagine a creepy pair of undead croc eyes just above the surface. You know how they just float around and hunt with their eyes right at the surface? Maybe its eyes are glowing lights that flit around like will-o-wisps. Oh, that's cool. I definitely like the idea they might have glowing red eyes or something. Yeah. Totally. Okay, so that's a Wraith. So the Wraith's pretty nasty. 4 hit dice, 3 armor class, drains levels a la a Spectre, but it's not a Spectre. What does it say for Spectre? Or do I have to go to the other book? Nope, I won't. All right, so Spectres are the worst the worst ones. So Spectres, armor class do 6 hit dice. The ghostly specters are among the mightiest of the undead. They have no solid bodies and can only be hit by magic weapons. Silver weapons have no effect. Okay, so Wraiths can be hit by silver weapons. Specters, no. They have more hit dice. Their armor class is lower. Like all undead, they're immune to sleep, charm, and hold. A hit by a specter drains 2 energy levels. The result of this drain is that the person touched loses 2 hit dice, levels of experience. Experience points will drop to the lowest amount. Okay, got it. Yeah, I would probably want to rework this. I'm not against energy drain and level drain, but it's just, it can be hard to. I don't like the bookkeeping that comes with it. Not that it's super difficult, but it's kind of like you got to stop the combat for a minute to be like, oh, hold on, let me figure out how many hit points I lost, blah, blah, blah. I think I might have it go straight to your con or something, just draining your constitution, just going right down. And 1d8, whatever, maybe even bump it up a little bit. 2d6 drain of your con is pretty nasty. Even if it's 1d6, that's pretty nasty. And then you just can subtract. I don't know. I wouldn't even have it affect your hit points, just but you're quasi, permanent. So that's okay. Spectre. So might go with a Wraith. I like that's kind of missed. And I would say also Henchman of the Crocodemon. So then we have the oh yeah, let's look at the vampire. So this Wraith was okay, so it's even more. Vampires most feared of the undead, feeding on the blood of the living in order to survive. Vampires hunt ruins. Yep, okay, sleep. Right. In human form. Yeah, I like the idea that the charm. Yeah, I think because we have this concept of the smithy, right? The forge, and I want to say that maybe the vampire haunts the forge. Like that's like maybe where it is. And so this does this. Oops, did I move the? Yeah, I hate when I do that. I move things over by accident. The maybe make it. I don't know. I haven't kind of set up what I haven't really looked at this in terms of, well, what levels would this be for? So down there is definitely bad. You definitely don't want to go down there. And I do think you can tie it in. We talked about this kind of questing to get something where maybe you have to go on some quest and do stuff. And I definitely think that if you go on that quest, that it would help you. Like you would get some things that would armor you at least a bit towards some of these things. Because it is nasty down there. But, you don't have to go. You don't have to do it. So maybe the Wraith. So actually, this means so I'm going to put another. It gives me another thing here. So I can put something else in here because I don't want the troll. I don't want the Wraith and the vampire to go all the way up the gorge. They stop at the thing. So let me roll for another creature. You can put elsewhere. All right, so 2. Yeah, keep going. Almost there. Not quite. There we are. Okay, so whoops. Here we go. 2 is a flyer. All right, I'm down for some flyers. And a 7, Manticore. Manticore. Where did you come from? All right. I wonder where the Manticore. I think the troll and the Manticore get along. That might be kind of fun. Especially if you want to play with them not just being evil kill, that the troll and the Manticore are battling each other. And you could maybe go in service to one to get rid of the other. We've got, so if the troll, I should probably make a note, layer is at 2.2. I should say. Yeah. Then where might the Manticore layer? This is kind of cool because it's helping me fill out. I mean, that's what I love about these things, right? It starts off, I'm working on this little area, but it does help me fill out. So the Manticore could, well, because that would be far flying. So it could actually be in 1-1. Though I kind of like the idea of something else being there. So maybe it's at 5. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 2.5. Maybe 2.5 is where that one layers. Layers at 2.5. Okay. All right. Well, we got some good stuff. Cool. Cool. Well, I will do the next steps of fleshing this out. Yeah, I like what we've got. I got to do a little bit of cleanup. Got to figure out maybe exactly what a few of these things are. Like maybe we'll do some crocodemon. I know there's that Egyptian god with the crocodile head. Might be fun to look at for inspiration. It's the head of the Nile crocodile, right? Sobek, also known as Sucus, was an ancient Egyptian deity with a complex and elastic, I got hiccups on the history of nature. He's associated with the Nile crocodile. Crocodile had a humanoid, if not a crocodile outright. Associated with pharaonic power, fertility, and military prowess. Also a protective deity with apotropaic qualities. I don't know what that means. Oh, look at that. Harm or evil, turn away harm, evil influences. So what would happen? Oh man, this is a Cajun accent crocodile from Leatherhead from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know. But I like the idea that maybe that he was good and he was the guardian who was good and then has been corrupted. So let me add a little note in here. I kind of like the idea that maybe it's become blinded. So it does kill the glowing eyes unless they glow white. But that somehow has been blinded. And that is sort of signifies its corruption. It can no longer see. So it thinks it's become flipped. It thinks evil is good and good is evil kind of thing. But I like it. So we'll continue on there. I shall be back Studio A tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have a chance to stream because I generally try to put out a video. I'm trying to put out videos, on the Wednesdays, and that between the recording of the video and really what takes the longest is the editing of the video. I don't tend to have a lot of other time to stream, but you never know. I haven't recorded yet though, so I don't know. Ryan says we're restoring its site is a cool quest idea. Well, I think it's one that I wouldn't want to make it. What I would probably do, I guess if I had my druthers with this kind of thing, is I'd want it to be something you could discover. But I would say, if you can, bring peace again to the Gorge, and there's a couple ways to do that. One would be to drive away or defeat the crocodemon. Another one might be to restore its sight, right? And that through kind of discovery and just give you some options. So I probably wouldn't mandate that you have to restore the sight to the thing, but that's a way you could do it. So I would want to build in support for it. That's a fine solution. If you can figure out how to do that, restore its sight, then maybe that's the best ending. If you do that, then some really good things will happen. If you destroy it, you'll end it, but maybe the magic of the Gorge will die. Because he's kind of that connection. Will happen, right? Or something other thing will happen. Or if you cause it to leave, then the magic of the gorge will die, or something else will happen maybe, and then he'll run away, and maybe he'll come back there, or he'll go somewhere else, and so you're kind of moving the problem elsewhere. But it's a fun choice, right? So you just want to make it so that the party has a way to maybe learn it, and it could just be just going on and seeing that it's blind and whatever. Maybe we can lean on some of these Egyptian hieroglyphs in something like in that in the forge area to see where they've been, or on those columns been defaced, which will show the crocodile, and it's kind of good. And then you get there and it's kind of feral and whatever. So yeah, but let it be a puzzle that the party can solve in a number of ways, or even some ways that I hadn't even thought about. All right, folks, I gotta try to get the laundry in the dryer, do some vacuuming and some other stuff so I can close up the house and then hit the road. But thanks for helping me work through this stuff. It's fun as always. Have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you end up watching or listening to this. Game on, everybody, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.